What if I told you that the world you see isn't real, not in the way you think it is? Every moment your brain is taking in fragments of light, color, and movement and constructing a version of reality that feels seamless and whole. But in truth, your brain is a master illusionist, filling in gaps, making assumptions, and even deceiving you to create the world you experience. How does your mind know what it's looking at? Why do some people mistake a hydrant for a child or even their wife for a hat? What happens when the mind's ability to interpret vision breaks down? The answers reveal the mind's intricate mechanisms, the shocking fallibility of perception, and the hidden glitches in your reality. Let's step into the mind's eye and uncover the secrets of vision. Seeing is believing, or is it? Every second, photons flood your retinas, bombarding your eyes with visual information. But raw data alone isn't enough to form what you see. Your visual cortex, located at the back of your brain, must decode, organize, and make sense of these signals. Your brain is so efficient at creating an understandable picture of the world that you rarely question what you see, but you should. Consider these questions. How do you recognize a snake from a rope or a pretzel from a coiled wire? Why do some people see faces in clouds or buildings? How can two people look at the same object but perceive it differently? The answers lie in the brain's ability to create order from chaos. But this process isn't perfect. It's prone to errors, illusions, and even complete failures. The brain's secret shortcuts, Gestalt principles. Your brain doesn't analyze every single detail of a scene. Instead, it relies on Gestalt principles rules that help it group objects and fill in missing details. Similarity? We group similar-looking objects together. Proximity? Objects close together appear related. Closure? If part of an object is missing, the brain fills in the gaps. Continuity? We see continuous patterns, even when interrupted. Figure ground? We separate objects from their backgrounds. These shortcuts help us navigate the world quickly and efficiently, but they also make us vulnerable to illusions. This is why we sometimes see patterns where none exist, why optical illusions trick us, and why we may mistake a shadow for a person. What happens when it goes wrong? The strange world of visual agnosia. For most of us, recognizing an object is effortless, but for some, the brain's visual processing breaks down. Case study 1. The man who mistook his wife for a hat. Neurologist Oliver Sacks documented the case of Dr. P, a music professor who lost the ability to recognize faces and objects. He could see colors, shapes, and textures, but his brain couldn't put them together. He described a rose as a convoluted red form with a linear green attachment. He mistook his own foot for a shoe. He even grabbed his wife's head, thinking it was his hat. Dr. P suffered from visual agnosia, a disorder where the brain can't interpret what it sees. Case study 2. Seeing objects, but not knowing what they are. Some patients with visual agnosia can describe objects perfectly, but have no idea what they are. One patient was shown a lock and described it as a small, shiny metal object with a turning mechanism, yet he had no clue it was a lock. Another could use a pair of scissors, but couldn't name them. This suggests the brain processes the function of an object separately from its identity. How your brain pieces together reality. Your brain doesn't store every object you've ever seen. Instead, it breaks objects into basic components, lines, curves, textures, and then reconstructs them into a meaningful whole. Neuroscientists have discovered that different areas of the brain process different parts of vision, shape and edges, occipital lobe, texture and color, temporal lobe, object movement and depth, parietal lobe. Normally, your brain binds all these features together so seamlessly that you never notice the process. But when something goes wrong, the world falls apart into disconnected fragments. People with simultaneous agnosia, for example, can only see one object at a time. If they look at a dinner table, they might see only a spoon while everything else remains a blur. How reliable is your reality? The more we study vision, the more we realize that seeing is not believing. Your brain actively constructs your reality, filling in gaps, making assumptions, and sometimes getting it completely wrong. Here's how your brain deceives you daily. Blind spots. You have a literal blind spot in each eye, but your brain fills in the missing data so you don't notice. Change blindness. You can miss huge changes in a scene if your brain isn't focused on them. Pareidolia. You see faces in clouds, buildings, and random objects because your brain is wired to recognize faces. The McGurk effect. What you hear changes depending on what you see. So, next time you trust your eyes, ask yourself, is your brain showing you reality or just its best guess? Your mind's eye is a powerful tool, but it's also prone to errors, illusions, and hallucinations. Neuroscience is still uncovering the complexities of how we see the world and what happens when this delicate system breaks down. So, can you trust your brain? Not entirely, but by understanding how it works, you can become aware of its tricks and shortcuts, making you a sharper, more skeptical observer of the world around you. After all, in a world constructed by your mind, what is truly real? Thank you for watching.